There is a specific kind of silence that only exists in the wake of a total internal collapse. You've lived through the kind of chapters that most people only see in films. You know that silence, it's the one you felt when the person you trusted most turned out to be the one who orchestrated your downfall. It's the coldness that settled in your chest when you realized that no one was coming to save you, that the safety net you believed in was a lie and you were going to have to crawl out of the wreckage on your own. You've sat on the floor of a dark room or behind the wheel of a parked car, feeling the weight of a decade's worth of betrayal, financial ruin, or family trauma pressing down on your lungs. In those moments, you weren't healing, you were being dismantled. Most people walk through life as soft entities. They think a bad day is a late paycheck or a minor argument. They don't know what it's like to have the entire foundation of their reality ripped out from under them. But you do. You've endured the kind of hardship that makes regular people spiral, yet here you are, still breathing, still calculating, still moving. You've lived through the seasons where the world tried to break your spirit, using your kindness against you like a weapon. You've been the one who was too nice, the one who gave too much, and the one who paid the highest price for it. Most people look at you and see a functioning adult. Machiavelli looks at you and sees a tempered blade. If you see these traits in yourself, then it means life has tested you, but it hasn't defeated you. In fact, it did something far more dangerous. It rewired you. While your peers were becoming comfortable, you were becoming clinical. You've developed a strategic radar that picks up on a liar's micro-hesitation before they even finish their sentence. You've mastered a sovereign independence because you learnt the hard way that dependency is just a target you paint on your own back. You don't overthink anymore. You run high-level simulations of every possible betrayal so that you are never caught off guard again. Machiavelli once noted that it is much safer to be feared than loved. For you, this isn't a dark quote. It's a survival reality. You've realized that the love the world offered you was conditional and fragile, so you traded it for a quiet, lethal competence. You carry an invisible curriculum of pain that has turned you into a psychological outlier. You are now a strategist in a world of actors. Today we are moving past the pity. We are going to conduct a cold, objective audit of the 11 dangerous traits that only exist in those who have gone through too much. We are going to analyze why your guarded heart is actually a high-tier security protocol and why your silence is the most intimidating thing about you. You aren't a victim seeking closure. You are a prince who has returned from exile, and it's time to understand the true power of the weapons you forged in the fire. 1. Silent persistence, inner resilience. You've reached a point where you no longer feel the need to explain your pain. When things go wrong, when the project collapses, the partner leaves, or the money runs dry, you don't go looking for a shoulder to cry on. You don't post a cryptic status or look for validation from people who don't actually care. You simply go quiet. This is silent persistence. It is the ability to suffer without leaking. Most people are leaky. They broadcast their struggles because they are desperate for the temporary hit of pity. But you've learned that pity is just a polite form of contempt. You've been through enough to know that the moment you show your wound to the world, you've just given the world a target. In the Machiavellian sense, your silence is a tactical cloak. While your enemies or competitors are waiting for you to crack, you are moving with a cold, mechanical consistency. You are working, calculating, and rebuilding in the dark. This terrifies people. Nothing is more intimidating than a man who stays productive while his world is on fire. It means you are unshakable. It means you've developed a high-pressure system in your mind that has turned your trauma into a dense, unbreakable core. You don't bounce back. You move through the fire because you've realized that the fire cannot burn what has already been scorched. 2. Tactical empathy, the social radar. Because you've been hurt, you've developed the most illegal weapon in the social arsenal, the social radar. Most people use empathy to feel good. You use it for surveillance. You don't just sense how someone feels. You decode the motive behind the feeling. When you enter a room, you aren't listening to words. You are auditing micro-shifts. You hear the half-second hesitation in a laugh. You see the way a person's eyes shift when a certain name is mentioned. You detect the exact moment a friend feels a spark of envy toward your success. This isn't a gift. It's a survival mechanism you were forced to build because at one point in your life, failing to read the room meant getting blindsided. You learned to read the atmosphere before you learned to trust it. Now, you use this to anticipate a person's next move before they even make it. You know they are going to betray you before they've even finished the plan. You know they are lying because you recognize the exact pitch of a lie from your own history. You aren't being sensitive. You are conducting a high-level psychological audit in real time. This makes you dangerous because you are never truly surprised. You are always 3 steps ahead of the conversation, maneuvering through the ego and insecurities of others while keeping your own cards hidden. You've turned your past hypervigilance into a clinical strategic advantage. You've mastered the art of the inner fortress and the outer radar. You know how to stay quiet while the storm rages, and you know how to read the hidden rot in others. But knowing the threat is only half the battle. The next phase of your evolution is about how you use your presence to take control of the environment itself. Most people think helping is about kindness. You are about to learn why your urge to solve problems is actually a masterclass in establishing dominance. We are moving from the defense into the offense. There is a specific way you've been behaving, a way you thought was people-pleasing, that is actually a massive source of untapped leverage. If you don't learn how to flip this switch, you will continue to be used. But once you understand the invisible debt, you will never be at the bottom of a hierarchy again. 3. The savior's leverage, strategic altruism. You have a habit of stepping in when things fall apart. When a friend is in a crisis at midnight, you're the one who picks up the phone. When a project at work is failing because of someone else's incompetence, you're the one who stays late to fix it. You tell yourself you do it because you're a good person or because you know what it feels like to have no one there for you. You think your compassion is your greatest virtue. Stop lying to yourself. Your urge to save people isn't just kindness. It is a desperate attempt to control an environment that once hurt you. Because you experienced a time when you were powerless, your brain has decided that the only way to be safe is to be indispensable. You have developed the savior's leverage. You don't just solve problems, you become the person without whom the system collapses. Think about your current circle. Why do they keep coming to you? It's because you've made yourself a safety net. But because you've done it out of a need to be liked, they take your help and offer you nothing but thanks. You are being drained because you haven't realized that the person who solves the problem holds the leash. From this moment on, you stop helping to be nice. You help because the debtor is a servant to the lender. When you solve a crisis that no one else can touch, you aren't just being helpful, you are establishing a power monopoly. You are creating a reality where if you walk away, their world collapses. This is how you handle the friends who only call when they need something. You don't cut them off. You make the price of your help their total loyalty. You stop being a helper and start being a patron. You've suffered too much to be a doormat. If you are going to carry the weight of their world, you must own a piece of it. You make yourself the person they cannot afford to lose, and in doing so, you ensure they can never move against you. 4. The strategy of silence, solitude. Most people are terrified of being alone with their own thoughts. They keep the TV on as background noise. They scroll through their phones the second they have a free minute, and they fill their weekends with social obligations just to avoid the silence. They do this because silence is a mirror. It shows them how empty their goals are and how much of their life is a performance for people they don't even like. Because you have been through too much. You have stopped running from the mirror. You have developed a deep need for solitude, but not for the reasons others think. You aren't antisocial. You are conducting a tactical recalibration. For you, solitude is your war room. It is the only place where you can strip away the social noise, the gaslighting, and the expectations of others to see reality for what it actually is. In the silence, you see the moves clearly. You replay conversations, you analyze motives, and you map out your next 3 months. Your need for solitude is a strategic reset. It's why you don't feel the FOMO that drives everyone else into bad decisions. You've been through enough chaos to know that being where the action is usually just means being where the drama is. By withdrawing, you become an observer rather than a participant. This makes you dangerous because people cannot read you. They don't know what you're thinking because you aren't constantly leaking your thoughts for social validation. While they are busy performing for each other, you are in the shadows, becoming more certain, more focused, and more autonomous. Your silence is a vacuum that pulls the truth out of others. 5. The perimeter defense, the guarded heart. You've been told that being closed off is a flaw. Society tells you that you need to open up, be vulnerable, and let people in. They want you to have an open door policy for your soul. Refuse. They want you to be vulnerable because a vulnerable person is easy to manage. They want you to be open because a person with no secrets has no defense. Your guarded heart is not a sign of trauma that needs to be healed. It is a security vetting process. You've learned the hard way that a fortress with an open gate is just a target. Because you've been betrayed, because you've felt the knife of someone you trusted, you've stopped giving out free passes to your inner circle. You understand that trust is not a right. It is a high-cost luxury that must be earned over years, not weeks. When you meet someone new, you don't vibe with them. You audit them. You watch how they speak about their enemies. You watch how they handle a small amount of power. You look for the cracks in their mask. To the world, you seem distant or hard to know. Good. That distance is your moat. It keeps the tourists, the parasites, and the actors away from your core. You only lower the drawbridge for the few who have proven they are willing to bleed for you. By being difficult to know, you increase your value. People value what they have to work for. By staying guarded, you ensure that anyone who actually makes it into your life is someone you have thoroughly screened for loyalty. You are no longer the person who lets a snake into the garden because they had a nice smile. You are the architect of your own sanctuary, and you are the only one with the keys. You have learned to turn your fixer instinct into leverage. You have turned your solitude into a war room and your distance into a fortress. You are becoming a person that the fakes and the weak can no longer touch, but there is a deeper level of control you haven't mastered yet. The world is still a chaotic place, and chaos is the enemy of a strategist. Most people spend their lives reacting to the weather of their emotions and the storms of their environment. They are victims of the unexpected, but because you have survived the absolute worst that life can throw at you, you have developed a specific clinical craving, a craving that allows you to turn the world into a predictable machine. In the next part, we are going to look at the architecture of the predictable. I am going to show you why your need for stability is actually a system for spotting anomalies, and how you can use a specific type of mental mapping to ensure that you are never ever caught off guard by a betrayal again. The next trait is what separates the survivor from the commander. It is the moment you stop hoping for a good outcome and start ensuring it. 6. Environmental control stability. You have a physical reaction to chaos. When the plan changes at the last minute, when someone is late without calling, or when your workspace is a mess, you feel a tightening in your chest. People tell you to relax. They tell you that you're too rigid, or that you need to go with the flow. They don't understand that for you, the flow is where people get swept away and drowned. Environmental control is not a personality quirk, it is a tactical necessity. Because you have lived through periods where your life was dictated by the whims of unstable people or unpredictable catastrophes, you have realized that chaos is the enemy of strategy. You cannot build an empire on shifting sand. You crave stability because structure is the only thing that allows you to think clearly. Think about your daily routines. You likely have a specific way of starting your day, a specific way of organizing your files, and a specific way of handling your finances. You aren't doing this for comfort. You are doing this to minimize variables. By automating the small things, you free up your psychological bandwidth for high-level objectives. A strategist knows that every minute spent dealing with a surprise is a minute stolen from their progress. Machiavelli understood that fortune is a woman, and it is necessary, if you wish to master her, to conquer her by force. You conquer fortune by creating an environment where luck has no room to operate. You don't hope things go well, you engineer them to stay on track. If you are in a leadership position, you set clear boundaries and strict protocols. If you are in a relationship, you demand consistency. You have learned that spontaneity is often just a mask for lack of discipline. By controlling your environment, you become the one who sets the pace. You aren't reacting to the world anymore. The world is reacting to the structure you've built. 7. Scenario mapping over preparation. You've been accused of being a pessimist. When a new opportunity arises while everyone else is celebrating, you are the one sitting in the corner thinking about all the ways it could go wrong. You've been told you think too much or that you're killing the vibe. What they call overthinking, I call scenario mapping. You don't just hope for the best, you run high-definition simulations of the worst. Because you've been blindsided before, because you know exactly how it feels to have the rug pulled out from under you. Your brain has developed a pre-mortem instinct. You look at every deal, every friendship, and every career move, and you ask, where is the trap? This is your greatest intellectual asset. While the average person is blinded by optimism, you are armed with contingencies. You have a plan for betrayal. You have a plan for a market crash. You have a plan for a health crisis. You are never caught off guard because you've already lived through the failure in your mind 100 times before it happened. By the time the crisis actually hits, you aren't panicking. You're just executing Plan C. Machiavelli warned that the man who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner effects his ruin than his preservation. Most people live in the ought to be done, the fantasy. You live in the is, the reality of human failure and environmental risk. You've learned that the only way to stay safe is to be the most prepared person in the room. This isn't anxiety, it is superior readiness. When the vibe checkers and the optimists are running around in a panic because they didn't see the disaster coming, they will look to you, and you will be ready, not because you're a genius, but because you were the only one brave enough to look at the darkness before it arrived. You've built the walls, you've secured the perimeter, and you've mapped out every possible threat. You are no longer a victim of chance, you have become a master of the known. But there is one variable that remains the most dangerous of all: dependency. Even with a perfect plan and a stable environment, if your survival depends on someone else's permission, you are still a slave. You've felt this before, the terror of realizing that one person's exit could destroy everything you've worked for. You've promised yourself it would never happen again. In the next part, we are going to break the final chains of the social contract. We are going to look at why your fierce independence is the only thing keeping you from being a useful tool in someone else's game. 8. The sovereign mind, hyper-independence. You have reached a point where asking for help feels like a defeat. When someone offers to take something off your plate or give you a hand, your first instinct isn't gratitude, it's suspicion. You don't see a helping hand, you see a hook. You've been through the agonizing experience of relying on someone only for them to vanish when the pressure hit, or worse, use their help as a leash to pull you in the direction they wanted. The sovereign mind is the realization that dependency is a death sentence for your progress. You have built a life where no one person has the power to destroy you by walking away. This isn't ego, it is strategic autonomy. You have learned that in the Machiavellian world, the person you need is the person who owns you. If you need their money, they own your time. If you need their approval, they own your identity. Because you've seen how quickly loyalty dissolves under stress, you've decided to become your own primary resource. Think about your current circle. If your best friend or your business partner disappeared tomorrow, would your world collapse, or would it just be a Tuesday? If the answer is collapse, you are vulnerable. You are a useful tool waiting to be discarded. A strategist ensures they have the skills, the resources, and the mental fortitude to stand alone. You don't avoid people because you hate them. You avoid needing them so that when you do interact, it is from a position of power, not desperation. You are the only one who should hold the keys to your survival. When you are truly independent, you cannot be blackmailed, you cannot be coerced, and you cannot be abandoned. You are sovereign. 9. The detail harvest. Observation. While everyone else is focused on the big picture or the grand promise, you are staring at the crumbs. You've learned that people can rehearse a speech, but they can't rehearse their nervous system because you've been lied to by experts, people who looked you in the eye and swore they were on your side while planning your downfall. You have developed the detail harvest. You are a collector of the unimportant. You notice the split-second hesitation before someone agrees to a deadline. You see the way their pupils dilate when you mention a specific name. You notice the keys left on the table, the slight tremble in a hand, the way a laugh doesn't reach the eyes. These aren't just observations, they are intelligence assets. You've realized that the biggest lies are always revealed by the smallest details. While others are being swept up in the vibe of a meeting or a date, you are conducting a forensic audit of the person sitting across from you. Think about the last time you knew someone was lying before they even finished the sentence. That wasn't a gut feeling. It was your brain processing thousands of micro details that your past trauma taught you to recognize. You harvest these details because they are the only truth left in a world of masks. You don't listen to what people say. You watch what they do when they think no one is looking. You look for the gap between their words and their reality. This makes you impossible to gaslight. When someone tries to rewrite history or manipulate your perception, you don't argue, you simply refer back to the harvest. You know the truth because you saw it in the details they forgot to hide. You are a human lie detector, and that makes you the most dangerous person at the table. You have claimed your sovereignty. You have learned to read the world with the precision of a predator. You are no longer being played, you are the one observing the game. But as your power grows, you will face a new conflict. You will see the world for what it is, a place of deep imbalance and incompetence. You've always had a sense of justice, but it's been your weakness. It's made you angry. It's made you loud. It's made you a target. You've been the hero who got burned. But what if you could take that desire for fairness and turn it into a cold, clinical code of power? In the final part of this audit, we are going to look at why your justice is actually a code of reciprocity, a tool to keep your environment predictable and your enemies in check. And finally, we will reach the peak, the alchemist's mindset. 10. The code of reciprocity, sense of justice. You have spent a lifetime being frustrated by the incompetence of those in power and the cruelty of the people around you. You've been the one who spoke up when things were unfair, only to be the one who got silenced. You've been the one who protected others, only to be abandoned when it was your turn to bleed. You used to think this sense of justice was a moral compass. It was a tactical error. In the world of power, fairness is a myth sold to the weak to keep them compliant. But you, having gone through too much, have evolved beyond idealism. You have replaced justice with the code of reciprocity. You no longer care about being a hero, you care about balance. To you, reciprocity is a law of physics. If someone brings value, you return it. If someone brings betrayal, you return that too with interest. You protect the rules of your environment, not because you are nice, but because a world without rules is a world where your own power is at risk. You understand that justice is simply the enforcement of a predictable environment. You protect the weak in your circle, not out of pity, but to ensure that everyone knows there is a consequence for stepping out of line. Think about your current interactions. You've stopped being the useful fool who forgives everything. You've realized that unconditional forgiveness is just an invitation for people to hurt you again. Now, you observe. If someone is inconsistent, you remove your investment. If someone is loyal, you reward them. You have become a source of absolute predictability. This makes people respect you more than kindness ever did. They know exactly what will happen if they cross you, and they know exactly what they gain by standing with you. You have weaponized your integrity. You are no longer shouting into the wind about what should happen. You are the one making it happen. 11. Post-traumatic purpose, the alchemist's mindset. We reach the final rewire, the one that separates the survivors from the rulers. Most people who go through too much spend the rest of their lives trying to forget it. They want to bury the memory of the betrayal, the failure, and the pain. They want to be normal again. You have realized that normal is a downgrade. You have embraced the alchemist's mindset. You don't try to forget your pain. You extract its value. You look at your history as a library of lessons that no one else had the courage to learn. Every scar you carry is a piece of data. Every betrayal taught you a pattern. Every night you spent in total isolation taught you that you are your own primary resource. While others are fragile because they've never been tested, you are anti-fragile. You thrive on the very pressure that would crush them. You've stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started asking, "How can I use this to destroy the competition?" You have taken the fire that tried to burn you and turned it into the engine that powers your ascent. Your past isn't a burden, it is your intellectual capital. You are never the victim of the same tactic twice because you've already archived the counter-move. You move through the world with a quiet, dangerous confidence because you know something the average person doesn't. You know exactly how much you can endure. And because you've survived the worst the world could throw at you, you are now free to pursue the best. You aren't playing for approval anymore. You are playing for legacy. Your suffering didn't break you. It finished you. It turned you into a version of a human being that is intentional, strategic, and sovereign. You have stayed until the end of this audit. Most would have clicked away when the truth got too cold. Most people prefer the comfort of their masks to the weight of their own potential. By staying, you've proven that you possess the discipline required to master these traits. You aren't here for entertainment. You are here for realignment. If this message resonates, if you recognize these 11 rewires in your own nervous system, then you are already part of a different breed. Align yourself with this journey, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. This isn't a favor, it is a signal of intent. It is your commitment to stay in the light of reality and keep developing the psychological edge that life has forced upon you. For those who are ready to stop observing and start executing at a higher level, the inner circle is open. Join the membership. This is where the soft talk ends and the deep strategy begins. It is the war room for those who want access to insights others are too afraid to face. Staying on the outside is a choice to remain a spectator. Inside we build the power that lasts. Thank you for your attention. You've earned the clarity you now possess through the years of silence you've endured. Do not let this insight go to waste. Do not go back to being polite when you should be strategic. Do not return to your old dependencies. The world is a social minefield, but you now have the map. Your scars are no longer wounds, they are your sensors. I will see you in the next video.